Thanks for joining our webinar today, 4 Wins That Go Beyond Energy Savings, Smart Healthcare Buildings. My name is Holly English, and I'll be your moderator. Before we get started, just a few housekeeping items. Across the bottom of your screen, you should see several buttons that are your dashboard. Hover your cursor over the buttons to see what each does. Click on the Q&A button to type a question at any time. We will answer as many of these as we can in the time left at the end of the presentation. Next is the Speaker Biography button. Click this to show the speaker's bios or minimize them from your screen. The Certification button allows you to see your progress toward earning a certificate for 1 CEU. Stay with us for at least 50 minutes of this webinar and answer the polling questions to earn your certificate of completion. Pay special attention to the Survey button. We need your input to make these presentations even more useful to you. So please bring up the survey on your screen and answer the questions before you leave us today. Finally, the button with the question mark is your on-screen help. This webinar is being recorded, and we will email a link to you. Or you can simply use the same link that you used to log on to the webinar. Okay, enough of that. Let's get started. Here's a look at our presenters. Deanna Hoskins is the Director, Healthcare Market at Acuity Brands with more than 13 years of experience in the lighting industry and is lighting certified by the NCQLP. She is keenly focused on understanding and improving the healthcare experience in a visual, sustainable, connected, and energy-efficient manner. Lance Holner brings more than 12 years of experience in the lighting and building controls industry with concentration in wireless and IoT technology for both U.S. and international markets. He has had many roles throughout his career, from turnkey solution selling and business development to product and channel management. In his current role, Lance works with customers to define and execute IoT-centric smart building and smart community solutions that leverage lighting and HVAC infrastructure, along with software and mobility connectivity, to unlock additional value beyond just energy management or asset control. Deanna will start us off. Deanna?
Thank you, Holly, and thank you all for joining us. Lance and I are very excited to present Smart Healthcare Buildings, which is based on the Atrius Platform, and how it can enable many of the solutions for the healthcare market. What differentiates Acuity is the capability to offer light-based IoT solutions and comprehensive building management via one piece of glass. For those of you who may not be familiar with Acuity, I'll provide a brief overview. We market through an extensive brand portfolio which blends major indoor and outdoor lighting brands, such as Lithonia Lighting and Hall of Fame, with our architectural lighting brands such as Gotham, Peerless, Mark Architectural, Winona, Juno, and Hydrel. We add to this a full complement of controls technology, including our Nlight and Roam platforms and our Distech building management technology. Aligning all of these allows us to provide the unique offering of an integrated lighting and building management solution. And because it comes from one single source, Acuity Brands, we make it simpler and more cost-effective for our customers to specify, install, and start up. Through our comprehensive portfolio, we can deliver lighting solutions for any environment, interior, exterior, and across various vertical market applications. Before we go on here, we know that often people are viewing our webinars together. So that we have a better understanding of how many people are viewing the content today, let us know if you do have any other people in the room with you. I will give you a few seconds to respond. This will be the first of your 4 polling questions. Okay, 2 more seconds. Great. Thanks for taking the time to do that. You now have experienced your first of 4 interactive polling questions. 3 more to come to keep you engaged. Jumping now to the topic at hand, healthcare buildings consume a great deal of energy. Lighting and HVAC each consume roughly 40% of the electrical load. Long operating hours and availability of incentives make healthcare a great fit for IoT-enabled infrastructure. There has been a dramatic shift in how decision makers in this space think about savings and efficiency opportunities. Historically, the focus was on energy, but with the Affordable Care Act implementing HCAHPS, a patient satisfaction survey, whose results can impact hospital reimbursements, a focus around patient experience has come to the forefront. As represented on this slide, there are quite a number of things that can enhance the patient experience that are tied to IoT-enabled systems. For example, the global healthcare asset management market, think Uber for medical devices and wheelchairs, is projected to reach $29 million by 2020, up from an estimated $6.7 million in 2015. So if you can solve for and/or enhance these areas while saving energy at the same time, it sounds like a win-win, right? I will now turn it over to Lance Hallner, our VP of IoT Solutions, who will share with you the enhanced value proposition of light-based IoT and how it can help you do just that. Lance?
Thank you, Deanna. I want to build on what Deanna mentioned. She started by talking about the energy usage within healthcare, but then transitioned into some of the more pressing challenges of today. Here you'll see this concept of 3-30-300, which was an adage coined by JLL, Jones Lang LaSalle, to really discuss the fact that there's, on average, $3 a square foot spent in utilities within a space, $30 a square foot spent on the rent, and $300 a square foot spent on the people costs within that building. Sometimes I even like to add in the number 3,000, which is the revenue that an organization might be trying to drive from that 300. The reason I think this is important is because in the lighting and building control space, we spend much of our time thinking about how to impact the $3 a square foot, maybe a little bit of time within the $30 a square foot. But the opportunity ahead of us is to leverage luminaires and building controls, infrastructure that's a must-have for any building, and must take care of the obvious benefits of energy savings and optimized comfort and experience and code compliance, but to use that network and that platform to enable a whole variety of other IoT services, things including space utilization, enhanced safety and security, indoor location services, and even occupant engagement, be that visitors to a building or the staff that's using the building. And it's this paradigm shift that allows us to move from just focusing on $3 a square foot all the way up to the $300 and even $3,000 a square foot that an organization hopes a building will produce. Why is Acuity so interested in this space? Well, we believe that lighting is going to be a primary vehicle into making buildings more intelligent. Lighting is at the right location. Everywhere where there are people, there are lights, and they're present in a density that is significant. It has connection to power and also the ability to deploy sensors and beacons on a grid that make for rich data collection and other services. And finally, the timing is right. Whether it's new construction or retrofit, LED fixtures are going in to many buildings and will be there for 10 plus years until they're touched again. So the opportunity is now to go ahead and future-proof buildings for these types of services so that as applications are developed, and we'll show you a few examples of those coming up, that organizations can take advantage of that opportunity. It's with this end in mind that Acuity has recently introduced our Atrius Platform and framework for IoT solutions. Atrius allows organizations to develop tailored solutions that utilize indoor positioning, spatial analytics, and tracking capabilities that are enabled by the lighting and BMS infrastructure and other smart connected devices in the building. We've been working on this for over 4 years to develop an enterprise-grade system and really are at a point where we should start considering including this in significant healthcare projects and other verticals. For any design community that might be on the call today, this is an opportunity to really enhance the value of your design, to provide for future-proof capabilities by designing around our Atrius-enabled luminaires and controls that are going to maximize the capability of the systems you deliver. It'll be a very short time before end users are demanding this type of capability, at least future-proofed in buildings. And so starting your designs now around Atrius and Acuity's platform solutions ensures that your designs, when ready to go to construction, will meet clients' end needs. Let's go a little bit deeper, though. The Atrius Solutions framework is not any one thing. Instead, it's the collection of multiple elements. The first element involves deploying a sensory network. And those sensory networks, consist of lights, different sensors maybe within lights or separate, radios, networking, and gateway controllers. This is the hardware layer that allows you to collect information as well as to deploy beacons that we'll talk about later for indoor location. The second element is a set of platform services, which are APIs, which is application programming interfaces, and SDKs, software development kits, that allow us to unlock indoor positioning, asset tracking, space utilization, and other capabilities from the sensory network that we've put into the building. Thirdly, in order to develop truly tailored solutions for end users and to rapidly integrate different types of equipment together, we have a whole solution builder framework, which is a drag and drop environment where code is not necessary, that allows you to build all these things together and develop customized dashboards for a customer. And it's important to appreciate that these dashboards aren't just for one particular user group within a space, but different dashboards can live on top of the same data and information and be presented to different parties within a healthcare organization. All of this is put together by ecosystem partners, by enterprise IT organizations within healthcare, as well as in conjunction with a few basic applications from Acuity to create an integrated solution for a customer. I'm going to go deeper into each one of these elements of this framework over the next set of slides so you can have a better understanding of how this all fits together. But to give you an idea, I'd like to just give you the vision of an Atrius-powered healthcare facility. It starts with flexible indoor lighting, and that indoor lighting comes in a variety of forms and shapes, and may even be fixtures other than Acuity from other manufacturers, but all of which is Atrius-enabled and capable of not only providing light, but providing the sensory network we discussed. Connecting all of these devices together, we need to have a friendly IT platform that enables data aggregation and, where appropriate, connectivity to the cloud. And that's done through our Eclypse gateway platform, which we'll go into more detail, but is a IT-friendly and integration-friendly device for connecting these different subnets. It's important to also recognize the site lighting and the role it plays in a safe, secure environment. So being able to connect that lighting into an Atrius network is important as well. On top of this hardware, we start to see things like whole building control and energy dashboarding. Some of the things we've thought about in the past as important extensions of a lighting or building control network. But beyond just the energy management and optimization of those assets, we also can start to look at how that infrastructure can enable mobile applications to have real-time location. And we'll talk through some examples for healthcare that are powerful. And then finally touch on the concept of wayfinding, asset tracking, and space utilization. These are really the type of areas that tremendous value will be created in healthcare going forward. So let's start by looking at some of the components that make up the Atrius sensory network. We're going to talk briefly about our luminaires, many of which have our ELDO-led driver, and also this Eclypse platform and how it underpins a variety of lighting control systems and building control systems, but make for an easy IT-friendly way of pulling all of this information together. At the heart of an Atrius sensory network is an intelligent luminaire. While a variety of fixtures can be Atrius-enabled, many of which are going to feature the ELDO-led digital driver. The EldoLED driver provides precise digital control of LEDs, including stable color reproduction at any level and industry-leading dim to black with no flicker. In conjunction with applicable color change luminaires and our Fresco and Entune control systems, this platform can be configured for scheduled color change or change based on scene of color, and finally, even programmed for circadian rhythm tuning. Of course, color change has considerable opportunities to impact the healthcare space, both experientially and even from a health and wellness perspective. So this is an important thing as healthcare design moves forward to consider. Beyond EldoLED's unique capabilities to accurately and efficiently render lighting at any color and intensity you should wish, it also has onboard intelligence and capabilities making it an ideal platform for IoT. The EldoLED driver platform features a digital data bus that provides power and communication for auxiliary sensors and beacons. Examples of sensors that we might connect include occupancy, photocell, temperature, and even Bluetooth beacons, which we'll touch on shortly during our platform services discussion, that can enable indoor location services. In addition to the obvious benefits of attaching sensors and beacons directly to intelligent drivers, the EldoLED hardware platform also features a patented approach to pulse width modulation that allows us to send data via visible light. And this is often referred to as visible light communication. Without any additional hardware or capability, we can encode data over the light, which can be received from a smartphone camera and through one of those SDKs, which we'll touch on in a short bit, can be resolved into very accurate indoor location. This is an extremely powerful capability, and again, it was inherent to the natural design of EldoLED to provide for that stable color and dimming. Moving on from the EldoLED drivers, I wanted to touch on a second key element of an Atrius sensory network, and that's in the Eclypse gateway. The Eclypse gateway is an edge device that is both IT and integration friendly and features a local web server capable of hosting basic applications, such as a local energy management application, space utilization, which we'll touch on shortly, or other local diagnostics and programming interfaces. What makes the Eclypse so flexible is that, first of all, it's a BTL-listed device, or BACnet Testing Laboratories listed device. And that ensures seamless integration to other BMS equipment because we have published rules and published protocols for connecting to that device. The same gateway can also run on a broader Tritium framework, should that be a customer requirement. And finally, this gateway has the ability to locally manage energy meters and other BMS equipment, creating a very flexible architecture for BMS needs. And I will illustrate that a bit further. The last thing, though, and this is a very important point, is that this is an IT-friendly device. There's a variety of different controls and configuration settings that allow an IT department to set up this controller to fit their IT requirements. And because this controller is used as our single gateway between the IP worlds and our subnets, it's only one single device for an IT department to have to configure, to test, and to manage as part of their governance. And this goes a long way in reducing the total overall costs of these type of solutions. Let's see how the gateway lays down in a typical hardware program. First of all, as I mentioned, it is at the connection point between our subnets and the IP world. And so as an example, we might connect through our Nlight or XPoint Wireless digital platforms. And coming out now is our Nlight Air wireless platform for indoor and for location services. All of these coming through the Eclypse gateway. And with that, on the Eclypse gateway, we can start running applications around the lighting floor plan inherent to those devices. The Eclypse Gateway, though, is also at the front end of all of our dispatch control solutions for building management and HVAC management. And that means that you can connect dedicated controllers, VAV equipment, and other devices through the same platform and truly have a unified lighting and HVAC solution. If a healthcare customer already has a variety of other equipment installed in their campus, as they often do, you can also use this same Eclypse Gateway as a head end to those other systems, be it from Johnson Controls, Trane, or otherwise, to pull all of that equipment into the same data model and the same digital front end, thus providing for your HVAC visualization. Lastly, this Eclypse controller, as I mentioned, can host resident energy meters without any additional equipment, providing for a very accurate utility-grade dashboarding of the loads in your space. And all three of these can combine into truly a unified view of your building control for your facilities and operations management. And it's these type of applications and trend logs and other things that are very powerful for facilities managing the lighting and HVAC in the building. But of course, we had mentioned that these are the must-haves for lighting and building control, and that really we want to be able to go a step further with that same network within the space. Before we go further, it's really powerful to see this Nlight Eclypse demo in person and see some of the edge applications. So for those that are watching, please take a moment, and if you'd like to see a demo of that, please go ahead and click yes, and we can arrange after the webinar to coordinate a demo of the hardware platform that we just showed. I'll give you a minute to fill that out. Great. So now that we've covered the Atrius sensory networks, talking about the elder-led driver, luminaire, the Eclypse Gateway, and how it plugs into all the various platforms for lighting and building control, we now want to talk about the software services that are going to leverage that sensory network to do additional elements. The Atrius services are a set of cloud and gateway-hosted APIs. Again, API stands for Application Programming Interface. And also software development kits that unlock capabilities from the underlying sensory network. Today we will look at 4 service offerings relevant for healthcare. The first we will review is Atrius Spaces, which focuses on how building spaces are utilized and occupied, both in real time and historically. The second is Navigator. And Navigator is a means of allowing mobile applications to integrate real-time blue dot location. And we'll talk about how that technology works and the possibilities for enterprise applications. The third is Insights, which provides analytics and historical reporting about location, traffic flow, and the whereabouts of devices connected from Navigator and other inputs. And finally, we're going to touch on Assets, which will be formally released in early 2018, but is being piloted by several customers now and allows for real-time active tracking of asset tags and key equipment and personnel. Starting off, we'll take a look at Atrius Spaces. Here you'll see some screenshots. Atrius Spaces utilizes information collected from occupancy sensors that are part of a building's networked lighting control system, and it compiles that data space by space for understanding of room usage, both real-time and historical. It's important to note that in a traditional system where you have occupancy sensors keeping lights on after people leave the room, we're able to understand when the room was last occupied and use that information directly for space utilization instead of when the lights are necessarily on and off. That means if there's a conference going on and the lights are out because of audiovisual equipment, but there are people in the room, we're still counting that information towards an occupied room. So this is truly information separate from how the lighting control system is operating. Atrius Spaces comes in two versions. The first is a free application, which is preloaded on any Eclypse controller. This free application provides a running 7-day view of all of those sensors connected to that particular Eclypse controller. And provided that the naming conventions that were put in during the commissioning of the lighting system match the current rooms, then this application is truly auto-configured and immediately recording data based on the areas connected within that particular Eclypse controller. The second version of space utilization is a paid application, and it's used when you want to combine the information from multiple controllers or from multiple buildings, or if you wanted to add a map view or tap into additional analytics and longer historical analytics around the space. This can really be a huge tool for HR and facilities in truly understanding how the spaces are being used, whether it's time to truly add more space or repurpose space, things like conference rooms or otherwise, and can even be purposed to demonstrate when a conference room is currently available or not, so that people can make their way over to that meeting room and not waste time searching for places to get together. Again, Atrius Spaces is available today, shipping on any Eclypse controller, and can even be added to our over 1 billion square feet of existing installed Nlight controls through an upgrade to an Eclypse controller and turning on this feature. The second platform service that we wanted to discuss is our Navigator SDK. You'll see here a variety of applications that might be pertinent to a hospital, whether it's a visitor, an employee welcome screen through a visitor experience app, campus wayfinding, availability of rooms, or even on-demand security during emergency or other on-demand assistance. Indoor location can be extremely powerful in making these applications come alive. The way this works is we have a software development kit which integrates within the mobile application on the phone. So if a third-party provider was doing a wayfinding app for healthcare, or even if an enterprise IT group was developing their own app, they would consume our software development kit and they would build that into their application, and it would pull information in and provide an accurate blue dot within the application, which is that real-time position of that mobile phone user. We leverage location from a variety of technologies. The first type of technology is something that we mentioned a little bit earlier on with the R.O.I drivers, and it involves visible light communication, or VLC for short. VLC, if you'll remember, allows us to embed specific information over the visible wavelengths coming out of the fixture. And in the case of indoor location, we can give each fixture a unique name and then broadcast it through the visible light. And a mobile phone that's running an application with our SDK can use the forward-facing camera to view that information and thus decode the location of that phone. We're able to achieve an accuracy of about 10 centimeters, as well as 1 degree of orientation of which way that device is pointing. And this is very powerful for doing indoor wayfinding and navigation, especially as you consider wayfinding for visually impaired, where accuracy definitely matters. The second type of technology that we also use for indoor location involves Bluetooth low-energy beacons, or the BLE radios that we might hook up to an R.O.I driver and place in our fixture. When we deploy Bluetooth low-energy beacons in fixture by fixture, we're able to listen to those beacons, once again using a smartphone, and with our SDK, develop location within about 1 meter of accuracy So if your phone is not out and not looking at the light that features visible light communication, perhaps it's in pocket or purse, and we can still resolve location to within about a meter of accuracy. In our Navigator SDK, we'll select from the best available location data, be it VLC, Bluetooth, or even GPS and Wi-Fi that might be present in the buildings, so that we can provide a continuous blue dot. It also allows us to field an application that covers a great amount of the campus, even if only certain buildings might have the very granular location accuracy, while others are more general and higher level accuracy, but still provide a consistent experience for a user throughout the buildings. As you can see, having blue dot location within an application, be it for work orders, for wayfinding, for emergency response, or otherwise, be a very powerful way of bringing that application to life and making it more valuable to the user. With our Atrius Insights platform, though, we're also able to take that information coming from the Navigator SDK and start to render it in important analytics and business insights. Here's some examples of showing where different traffic flows are, which spaces are being used more than others, how frequently they're being used, etc. And that allows us to really provide information that starts to lead to action-based results for customers. For example, this could be used for studying movements of staff or visitors, or for understanding traffic patterns throughout certain areas of the hospital, perhaps to better align maintenance and cleaning to actual usage rates. Lastly, I want to talk about our Atrius Assets platform. Currently under pilot with a few customers and launching in early 2018, our Assets platform uses the same Bluetooth low energy sensory network that we've deployed as part of our controls and luminaires. But instead of relying on a smartphone application in our SDK to calculate position, we actually use the radios in the ceiling to triangulate and detect active Bluetooth tags that are within the space. These tags might be integrated into a key card or attached to a high-value asset like a specialty pump or a piece of leased equipment. Tracking of these asset tags will help to identify location of the key equipment, and the analytics from our Insights platform can illustrate usage patterns or even alarm if equipment is removed from a certain zone. This functionality is perhaps one of the most exciting developments in healthcare. And while it may not supplant every use case from a traditional RFID solution, it can be a very cost-effective way of providing full building coverage of key asset and personnel movements. We just looked at 4 different services that are enabled from our sensory network. And there'll be countless others that come from this. But I'd like you to take a moment to please check any and all that apply of the services that might be valuable to you and or the customers that you serve. I'll give you a few seconds. Thank you. All right, we have taken a look at sensory networks, and we've just reviewed some platform services involved with Atrius. Finally, I just wanted to touch on the capabilities of our solution builder to be able to develop those tailored dashboards and workflows specific to customer needs. The Atrius Solution Builder leverages an architecture developed over the course of several years by a company called DG Logic. It involves linking together various data from a wide variety of equipment and different customer enterprise systems, and then being able to develop custom dashboards, workflows, and visual applications on top of that. This truly allows for us to deliver very tailored and very feature-rich applications to customers. And because this technology is based on HTML5, these applications can scale seamlessly between computer, tablet, and mobile phone, allowing you to bring the information out into the field where it's most powerful and most valuable. This tool has been in use, as I've said, for several years and has a wide variety of system integrators and other manufacturers already utilizing it, and therefore is proven to be able to integrate the wide variety of equipment that's seen in a healthcare space. We also offer professional services for creating these additional graphics and workflows for end users as well. Lastly, in order to help pull all this together, it's important to note that this technology is not just reserved for Acuity, but is available to any lighting manufacturer that would like to offer fixtures as Atrius-Enabled. This ensures that a customer is not necessarily slotted into any particular luminaire and can also get the type of specialty fixtures that are necessary for completing a healthcare project. We are also investing considerably in integrated solution partners. These are third-party companies that can leverage the information and create the applications on top of the Atrius platform. It's important to note that no one lighting company is going to be able to create all of the end needs, just in the same way that Apple didn't feel it could create all of the applications for the iPhone. So it's critical that we have these type of partners and a wide variety of manufacturers whose equipment can integrate within our solution in order to ensure that the healthcare organization will have a well-supported and wide variety of applications possible from this platform. This is also critical to think about as you choose companies that are in this space and making sure that they're going to be around and able to support these types of solutions for a long time to come. So now that we've looked at all the elements of the Atrius framework, I'd just like to finish with some examples of use cases as well as a couple considerations as you move forward. So the Atrius-enabled possibilities for healthcare can start with things like an enhanced visitor experience where wayfinding, even promotions and rewards, or visualizing wait times and queues are part of an experience app that makes that healthcare space more inviting and helps feed into better feedback on information being captured by the hospital. There's also a huge opportunity for improved facilities operations, whether it's integrating location into work order management systems so that you can understand the amount of path to be traveled or where the different people are within their work tasks. You can also use the asset and personnel tracking for knowing where your vendors and your key facilities maintenance crews are. This goes a lot further than just the simple walkie-talkie that they try to call out to people now, and also make sure you understand where vendors are. Are they visiting the areas they're supposed to, and whether they're still in the building or have left. Tool and equipment tracking is probably one of the biggest opportunities as well. There's a huge demand for tracking of leased equipment in healthcare. There's a high frequency of devices like medical pumps and other small things that go stolen, and really no way of understanding where those are. And the CFO struggles to track the leased equipment, whether it's being properly utilized or whether it's all sitting somewhere in a closet and not being taken advantage of, and yet they're still ordering more and more equipment. So the impacts on the finances of a healthcare from this tracking can be significant. Management of those leased assets also can include things like wheelchairs, doctors and nurses, and even select patients. For many years, they've been tracking newborn patients, the newborn infants, so that they don't leave the neonatal unit. But this can also go to other types of patients, maybe those that are suffering from dementia or older patients, and tracking them as well. And then finally, there's a wide variety of business intelligence about how spaces are used, energy usage, site-to-site comparisons, and other things that can be very valuable for a healthcare organization trying to understand its business better. These are just a few examples of opportunities for services developed on top of Atrius-enabled sensory networks. Please take one more moment to let us know which of these categories is most valuable to you. Enhance visitor experience, improve facility operations, management of leased or high-value assets, and business intelligence. To wrap things up, I just wanted to provide a few considerations. It's very important to understand that this is a brave new world we're charting into, where the silos typically that have existed around building control systems and other parts of the healthcare organization coming down in order to provide a better integrated and intelligent building. So as part of that, it's important to appreciate that there will be very few end-to-end solutions. I'd like to once again recall the analogy of the Apple iPhone. When the iPhone first came out, it had a calculator, it had a phone, it had a weather app and some other basic things. But it certainly didn't have the variety of applications that it does today. Instead, it was a platform for developing these. And that's much the same of where we're at this time. But as a result, integration to other enterprise systems is a must. And if you're selecting a platform to be used in a healthcare organization, it's critical that you're selecting from companies that have both spent the time and effort to engineer the solution to be IT friendly and easy to integrate, but have also thought through things like data security and other items that'll be so critical in the healthcare space. It's also important to ensure that over the duration of this infrastructure, which could be 10 plus years, that you're working with organizations that have a robust service and support network, that have an ecosystem of app partners to help develop solutions, and have both third-party and factory direct capabilities of maintaining these solutions. So how do you move forward practically? First of all, it's important not to fall behind. This is a very important concept, and I can tell you from personal experience, is extremely powerful when talking to senior administration at healthcare organizations. With all the crazy evolutions in healthcare and payments and everything else, they're absolutely looking for every way and every advantage to be able to better run their organization in the future. So we would encourage you to promote these concepts to your clients now. The next thing is future-proof the building. If you have a building that's going up or a lighting project that's going on, make sure you future-proof that for future services. You'll be happy to hear that our control systems, such as Nlight Air, are going to feature a lot of this beacon, Bluetooth beacon and sensory technology on board at a cost that's not any different than doing controls for your building already. So you can future-proof your building without necessarily spending additional money, but just by meeting code compliance or putting in sensible lighting and building controls. And finally, for the design community or even for internal healthcare professionals on the phone, consider technology workshops as a method of socializing these capabilities within an organization. Many healthcare companies don't appreciate the power that can be unleashed from the lighting and building control infrastructure, as this is a relatively new concept. But these technology workshops are a great way of getting multiple stakeholders from the organization together, sharing the technology and starting to prioritize the type of use cases and applications that might be of most value to an organization. This is something we've done with great success with multiple customers and are willing and happy to help assist this process with you as well. With that, I hope you've seen the immense power and the great paradigm shift that we're under, where LED is not just for energy savings and reduced maintenance, but really to underpin a whole smart building platform that can unlock services that solve many other problems, touching well into the $30,000, $300,000, and even $3,000 a square foot that companies spend on their buildings. I'm going to turn it back over to Holly to wrap things up. Thank you.
Thanks, Lance. We've been monitoring for questions, and there have been no questions, so you did a great job. I do want to thank everyone because I see that everyone who joined at the beginning has stayed through to the end. We do have one more polling question that should be on your screen right now. Based upon what you've learned today, we'd like your input on what you'd like to see for the next webinars that we produce on this topic. So if you take a look at your screen and let us know if any of those are of interest to you, and check all that apply. We'll give you a couple seconds. Okay. So thank you again for joining us on this webinar. I am going to leave this web portal open for a bit so that you can please take the survey if you have not done already. Please pull the survey up on the screen using your button on your console. And also, if you are interested in a CEU credit, you may print that out right from your console as well. And we'll make sure to leave this console open for a few minutes so that you can take care of that. Thank you for your attention, and we look forward to seeing you on our next webinar.